Hello everyone and welcome to the channel. So today we are going to be talking about what did happen to Ansu Fati in that match between FC Barcelona and Real Betis. Here's the thing. It is official. Barcelona have announced that Ansu Fati has secured a very serious injury. And so while we were watching the game between Barcelona and Real Betis, in the midst of this whole celebration that we were winning 5-2 and claiming that Barcelona is back and saying that Barcelona is playing extremely well, in the midst of all of that, Ansu Fati has secured a very serious injury. And to be very honest, I sort of did expect this because when Ansu Fati was taken out before the second half was going to start, I was like, wait a minute. Ansu Fati usually does get out around the 60th minute or the 70th minute. He's never taken out this early. And then only to find out once the match was over, while I was editing the video, Barcelona has made it official that Ansu Fati has felt some sort of discomfort within his knee. Later on, they did give out some other details claiming that Ansu Fati has torn his internal meniscus. And this is something that's very serious, right? Because we never want to hear a young player coming from our team tearing anything. I don't care if you're torn your chest, your elbows, your face, your knee, your foot, anything that's being torn while you are a young athlete is going to be taken extremely serious. And so if you guys do not know what a internal meniscus is, it's basically a cartilage that acts like a shock absorber that is placed between your thigh bone and your shin bone. This type of cartilage is being placed there between the shin bone and the thigh bone because it usually does give you some comfort within your joints. And so basically whatever was between the shin bone and the thigh bone, that cartilage has been torn. And usually when you do tear your meniscus, usually it is encountered when you are bending and then you add weight on top of it and then you twist your knee. And this is exactly what did happen on the field. If we look at these pictures here, we can slowly start to see Ansu Fati bringing more and more weight onto his left knee. As he was placing his foot onto the field, you can see that all of his weight did get placed exactly on top of his knee. Then his knee twisted and that is where the injury did occur. And so it does make sense. And the worst thing about this whole thing is that Ansu Fati continued to run after he reportedly torn his internal meniscus. And so sources have claimed, coming from the AAOS, they have claimed that players usually walk it off in the very beginning, but after, in about 20 to 25 minutes, you do experience some sort of tenderness or some pain within the knee. And then that is why within that 15-minute break that we did have, that is when Ansu Fati says, I actually feel something within my knee. Now, for those of you guys who are wondering, is this a ACL injury? Because as we all know, ACL injuries are like one of the worst things you can have as a soccer player. It completely changes your whole course of your career. Look what happened to Falcao or David Villa. When they did come back, they never came back the same. And it says here, according to AAOS, they have claimed that the meniscus functions as a shock absorber, what we have said before. Then they have claimed, and it helps distribute weight between the upper and lower legs. Meanwhile, the ACL is a band of tissue that runs through the middle of your knee. So those are two completely different things. The ACL is completely separate from a meniscus. And so aside from that, we did have the doctor working with Ansu Fati, and he said this to Cat Radio. If there is no operation, the recovery would be between 3 or 4 weeks. If there is intervention, depending on the type, the recovery time would be between 2 or 3 months minimum. Which basically means this: Ansu Fati has two choices. He can either return in 3 or 4 weeks and not do any surgery, or he can actually do the surgery, recover fully, and come back in about 3 or 4 months. Now here's the thing, we have heard this story before. We have heard a player from Barcelona encounter the exact same choice, and that was Samuel Umtiti. And guess what Umtiti did choose? He chose the first choice. He says, no, I'm not going to do any surgery. You can forget about it. I am not about to miss the World Cup. I do not want to be out for a couple of months. I'm just going to heal from this and just try to go through the pain because I know that eventually it will rub off. But apparently it has not worked out for Samuel Umtiti. If we look at the history of Samuel Umtiti with Barcelona, he has encountered a total of 2 or 3 injuries every season. And so if you do ignore an injury such as this is not going to pay off in the long run. And to be very honest, knowing that Ansu Fati has so much potential, so much talent, so much room to improve at just 18 years old, I just don't think that Barcelona are going to give the option towards Ansu Fati like they did with Samuel Umtiti. They're going to tell Ansu Fati and say, look, you're going going to get this surgery. You have seen what happened to all of these players, and we're going to get this right in the first time. And the other thing is that I know that Ansu Fati is a player that is mature enough to take the right actions. I just don't see Ansu Fati being very irresponsible with his body. I know that he's going to do exactly what he's being told to in order for him to come back stronger than ever. That is what brings us the most safety, to know that Ansu Fati is going to do well. Even though this is a very serious injury, I know that Ansu Fati will come back, and he will come back way stronger than he has ever been before. And especially when you are young, when you are 18 years old, there is no need to rush this whole process. You have a complete 12 to 15 year career ahead of you. There's no reason to be rushing this whole thing. You have time. And unfortunately for Ansu Fati, because of this injury, he will be missing the Spanish international game time during the international break. He was called by Luis Enrique, but apparently because of this, he will not be playing at all, and especially for the next 2 or 3 months. And now the big question is going to be this: who is going to replace Ansu Fati? Because Ansu Fati is actually one of the top scorers within La Liga and is the top scorer for FC Barcelona. Now, we are not here to say who is going to be that player to match Ansu Fati's goal, because Ansu Fati is his own player. He has his own quality. We're not going to try and replace Ansu Fati within these next 3 or 4 months. But what we can say is this: who can have the same effectiveness like Ansu Fati? So that effectiveness could be, can you contribute as many assists? Can you contribute to the gameplay and bring in pre-assist to this team? In what ways can you contribute that doesn't have to necessarily be goals on the field? So by the time we do return from this international break, we are going to have Felipe Coutinho back. And so here's the starting 11 that I believe we are going to go on throughout these next 2 or 3 months. I do see De Jong and Pjanic in the double pivot, Dembele on the right wing, Coutinho playing as a central attacking midfielder, and Messi playing as a striker. But notice how the left wing is not being occupied. Who is going to be playing in that role? Who can be there and provide as much value as Ansu Fati does bring when he is playing in that section? Here are the probable candidates that we could be seeing take Ansu Fati's spot. We do have Pedri. We know that Pedri plays extremely well in that area. We know that he is more than capable enough to bring assists, to bring goals, to be in these gameplays within the box. And so I do not have any doubts that Pedri could bring value towards the starting 11 in the left wing spot. We also do have a honorable mention, which is Conrad de la Fuente, the young American that is looking to break through into the first team. I believe that many fans here can agree that Conrad de la Fuente is talented. He can become a great player. And so who knows? Ronald Koeman is a coach that does like to make big drastic decisions, and he is also not afraid to make these decisions either. And so maybe it could be Conrad de la Fuente, and the last option could be Felipe Coutinho. Coutinho can simply be shifted into the left wing area and then have players such as Riqui Puig or Pedri take the role as a central attacking midfielder. We have seen Coutinho play as a left winger at Barcelona before in a 4-2-3-1 system. He's not as effective, but he can still be effective in the end. So let me know what you guys think. How do you think Ronald Koeman should adjust his Barcelona starting 11 without Ansu Fati? And the last thing that I do want to say is this to Ansu Fati: hopefully you do recover as soon as possible. Please take the right decision. Learn from the history of these players, and we are going to have your full backing. We do support you. We wish you a lot of luck and and hopefully we do see you soon by the next year in 2021. So that'll be it for today's Barcelona Daily News. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.